Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Anything Wrestling Podcast. Thank you once again for joining us. We are back here today. Unfortunately, we are missing Dan the Man. He's on a little trip. He'll be back soon. But for today, we got a one-on-one match. It is the Sean.
See how quickly it gets interrupted. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Commish. I am the advocate of the podcast, but I will be playing double duty as well as being the match breakdown guy. Also bringing to you an additional sponsor since Dan the Man is not here. Welcome to the Anything Wrestling Podcast. Today's episode, we have a lot to break down. Speaking of breakdown, congratulations to D-Generation X for being inducted. So a couple things. Elimination Chamber 2019 was brought to you in part by Fighting With My Family, the biopic story about Paige, produced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That's one of the sponsors. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you in part by two sponsors, Doritos. So many goddamn flavors. And also brought to you in part, once again, and I hope they're listening, 7-Eleven. My God, you take so much of my money. You really do.
Well, if you want to enjoy a good beverage and some snacks and you want to see Paige's real run in the WWE, you can catch it only on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
$9.99?
It's not $10.
It's not $1,000, and it's also not $1 million.
But $9.99.
So hard to do double duty sometimes.
I feel like there's such an emptiness.
Right? Like there's no presence.
There's no presence here. Speaking of, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, not too young, I hope. Today, tonight, or whenever you're watching this, YouTube proudly brings to you the zero-time podcast of the year, the advocate, the commish, the man, Dan in spirit, the host, the Shant. Let's get ready to discuss the Elimination Chamber. Commish, take it away.
So being your match breakdown guy as well, pulling double duties today, we're going to start in the direction as the event took place. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch this match because it was a part of the pregame show, like I said it would be, even though we preferred another match be switched to that. So you're going to break this match down. Give me just a quick runaround of the highlights. Current Cruiserweight Champion Buddy Murphy defending his championship against Akira Tozawa. Buddy Murphy being the winner. How did you feel about it?
Absolutely great match. I mean, we actually say it every single time when we're previewing the episode. Cruiserweight 205 Live is the one match on the card, not to take anything away from the rest of the superstars, but it's the one match on every single card, on every single night that delivers. They can do so much with so little. They can also have a fatal four-way and knock it out of the park. It is very much a shame because it seems like 205 Live is now going to be synonymous with pre-show. It almost seems like unless we got a 5-hour show going, you're not going anywhere on the actual card itself. You're going to be delegated to, hey, you're just on the pre-show. Just get the crowd going, which is truly a shame because people like Buddy Murphy, Akira, Hideo when he was there, along with other guys, Kalisto and all those guys, they bust their ass and they put on a really good show.
And plus, some of those guys do pull double duty, like Kalisto, Leo Rush, working on Raw as well.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, as tiny as these guys are athletically fit to run at a lot faster pace than most of your competitors right now. And it's such a shame that we're not getting much of this on the main show. Like I said, could have been a switch of the matches. But, again, that's up to Vince and how he controls the pay-per-views. How would you say another 5-star performance from the two guys?
I wouldn't call it necessarily a 5-star match, but definitely a really, really good match. I would give it a solid 4 stars as a match that gets the crowd going, gets you going, and goes, okay, let's go, let's do it. And if that's what it's there for, then it definitely did its job.
So moving into the beginning of the event, kind of some controversy because we were told that this match was supposed to be the main event of the pay-per-view. It got pulled right to the very beginning of the match, or of the event, I mean. So for 33 minutes straight, it is the Elimination Chamber match for the inaugural Women's Tag Team Championships. Granted that there was Women's Tag Champs back in the 80s, in Vince's younger days. Not to discredit those ladies. But you have the following. Team Fabulous Glow, which consists of Naomi and Carmella, versus the Riot Squad's Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, versus the Iconics, versus Nia, I think I'm the baddest, but I'm not, Jax, and No Face Tamina.
Who?
No Face Tamina.
Who?
You know who. Versus newly, I think they debuted this name, unless I haven't heard it on SmackDown recently, Team Fire and Desire.
Yeah, that's new.
Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose versus the Boston Hug connection of Sasha Banks and Bayley. So the eliminations were in this order. Team Fabulous Glow, the Iconics, the Riot Squad, Nia Jax, Tamina, and Team Fire and Desire. My first note about this. Wow. Like, seriously, for an Elimination Chamber match, instead of the usual 6 participants, that's what, 6 teams? Like, that's 12.
Yep.
12 women just put on the greatest tag match in an Elimination Chamber I think I've seen. I was blown away. There were some things that stuck out to me. The one thing being, of course, starting with the first team I mentioned, Team Glow. You wonder if Carmella was in the right state of mind. Granted, all her controversy this past weekend.
I actually thought about that, and I'm like, did she get eliminated first just to, like, get her, okay, go.
Like, get the attention away.
Go. Backstage you go. Honestly, I kind of doubted at the same time because Naomi and Carmella were just slapped together and, like, just go fill a spot.
Team Fire and Desire. My God.
Wow. I told you, I thought of this once the match ended. I actually had a change in mind. I was like, if this comes down to Sonya and Mandy winning, I wouldn't mind. It was more of Sonya than Mandy, really. She really, I've been an advocate for her for a while, but we talked about this. She really wasn't getting airtime. She really wasn't getting a story. She really wasn't getting a push. And it's like, I like her, but I don't find anything to be invested in.
Like, it seems like they would put her to, like, oh, you're just tagging along with Mandy.
Or we'll feed you to Asuka and have you lose in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But Sonya, wow, she grew on me in this match.
Do you think it's because of the grown animosity all of a sudden between her and Fuckface over there that happened within the week? Because remember, Fuckface was talking about, like, oh, I don't give a damn about Sonya's MMA record, fuck her, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
Because it kind of, like, to me, it looked like, all right, Sonya went out there with a purpose. It's like, I'm not, like, Mandy's, like, sidekick. I'm not just part of a tag team, and she gets all the attention because she's, like, this blonde bombshell, one of Vince's favorites. No, I'm going to prove I'm just as good as Sasha and Bayley. I'm just as good as Fuckface, if not better. I'm going to find a way to stand out. And to me, the fact that her and Mandy went as long as they did, she stole the show.
And she also, I don't know if it really matters, but if you notice, her attire was different. So I don't know if this is like break out of just being the MMA slap-down gimmick as opposed to like, no, I'm going to put on a performance for you tonight.
Well, she looked like she was ready to fight the whole night.
And she was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I thought Iconics were actually pretty entertaining in this match.
The only thing I cannot deal with is how high pitched their voices are, though.
Well, we were laughing when we were watching, and I feel like that's what they're there to do. Is
like
to,
they're the gimmick.
They're the gimmick. They're supposed to make you just like in all the seriousness that's going on in the match. It's like let's have some comedy in this. You know, let's make it a little bit fun.
Mm-hmm. They serve their purpose. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like when they get rid of the comedy shtick for a bit and they actually compete, they're not bad.
Good teamwork.
Yeah, and their moves together, it has a lot of promise. Like they could down the line eventually, like, you know, okay, you want to be taken serious, prove it. Okay, now you're proving it. Sure, we'll get you in tag team matches, or maybe we'll separate you two for a while. And who knows? But again, other than the high pitchedness in their voices, my God, like they did good.
They did good.
The fact that they were the second team eliminated, to me, that was just like, okay,
we kind of saw it coming.
Yeah, we said they would be the first. I think me and Dan did.
Okay, because I think I said Naomi and
you called that one correctly. The Riot Squad.
Riot Squad.
They did as much as they could. Don't get me wrong, like
good flow.
It seems like Liv can compete with women in her weight class, but when it comes to stronger opponents, that's her downfall. Like it's a guaranteed loss. Sarah can carry herself a lot better. The thing is, I liked how their chemistry was with the other women. It's just I didn't see them going far.
Okay.
That's just me. I don't know how you feel about them.
I've seen the Riot Squad when they're allotted a decent amount of time that they can knock it out. Once again, one match that comes to mind was their 6-woman tag match at Evolution. And I'm like, wow, frequent tags, very good psychology. I know Steve Austin has been an advocate for that. The fact that tag teams now don't really have that. Revival being a big exception if you give them time, like we saw last week when they became champions. Frequent tags, good tag team psychology there. Same thing with Riot Squad. I just feel like with everyone that we've knocked on, I just feel like it's a time thing rather than, oh, you're not talented, you know? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's that, but it's like, give me time on TV and I will prove to you that I am capable of putting on a show.
Being on the show.
Yes. So, what about the winners? Boss and Hug Connection.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, we still have to mention the other two because this is the one thing I kind of noticed. Like, the fact that, like, you have, like, what's her name just destroy one of the pod doors. Like,
she just ran into it.
But it's like, you take her out and you show no face, shows fear. She's nothing without the other. And I feel like that's how they both are. One's nothing without the other. And that's what showed that, like, that they can do it. That the Boston Hug Connection and Team Fire, they can take them out, which they did.
They had 4 people cover Tamina.
Just to make sure she wouldn't kick out, which I thought was funny. I'll give credit to Sasha and Bayley. You know I'm not a fan of Sasha's.
Yeah.
I've never taken away the fact that she can perform as a wrestler. Or, I'm sorry, entertainer, superstar, whatever.
Sports entertainer.
Whatever, Vince. I feel like Bayley carried more of the match just because of the concern with her injury, with Sasha's injuries lately. But it was a good... Those 4 ending it was good.
Yeah.
To me personally, it was. I mean, I don't know if you have any other notes about it.
I think everybody was waiting for the Final 4 to be Sasha, Bayley, and Nia and No Face. But the fact that they allowed that spot to be taken by Sonya and Mandy, it's like, if you're a runner-up, that's saying something.
It's saying that they're going to get another opportunity.
Hopefully.
Well, the thing is, these belts aren't restricted to the one brand.
I was thinking about that.
Their inaugural being that those two have to go to both shows now.
That would be interesting, and it would facilitate some change.
Who knows if we see them tonight on SmackDown?
And if we see a certain 4 individuals together, we'll get I wish he was here to do
he'd
it.
say, I don't want to take his shine away from
The Four Horsewomen.
There it is.
But yeah, I felt like one thing that I did mention was roughly, I think it was the third or fourth team coming out of the pod where I was like, okay, the ring is really getting crowded. I don't know, because I noticed that in matches like this, they'll do the whole thing where you have 2 or 3 people inside the ring and then 2 or 3 people outside of the ring who are just like, okay, let's wait for a spot or two. Okay, now we go in. And it's like there's like this gear shift that needs to happen. But I felt like, we were almost waiting for it to fall apart. And again, I forget how many time, the women knock it out of the park. I think it was Evolution or maybe even last year's Rumble where we were like, I doubt this is gonna be salvageable. And no, they actually
they continue to overachieve and achieve in a good way where it's like you're carrying the show at this point. Like you're keeping everyone like up with the show. Like you're actually stealing the show in a way.
With the exception of a couple guys, I would say the women have been the dominant trend on all the shows, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, whatnot. But yeah, overall, really great match. I'm very happy with it.
I give this one an A. I also wrote down who we predicted so far. Me and Dan have a point each.
Okay.
You're at a 0.
Yep.
Moving on to the next match, tag team match for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Team McMiz versus the Uso Penitentiary.
So
Jimmy and Jay Uso.
It was from this match forward where I started feeling like everything that I thought wouldn't happen happened. I personally felt like it was a little too quick to take the belt off of Miz and Shane because it literally just happened, like not even a month ago. And that's the problem with tag team titles nowadays, or titles overall, is that hot potato mentality. I have it 1 second, you have it the next second. I felt like you could have built a little bit more before you just had them lose. Shane McMahon, though,
He stole the show again.
God damn, bless you, Shane. Honestly,
I would have
bless you.
loved to see the double coast to coast if he could have done it to both of them. The dude's almost 50 years old and he puts his body through hell.
And he sweats like a pig.
He does. Not even Vince would sweat like that.
I think they were saving the second coast to coast so that he can have some energy to dive off the turnbuckle to the announce table. So you got to consider the guy. He's got a lot of gray hairs. He's aging, so he can't have all the spots in one match. But
well, the fact that Jimmy wins the match for the Usos, it's already like, okay, are we trying to take away from what happened to you this past week of getting arrested for your situation? Are we giving this to you just because? Like, who knows?
I completely forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Like, there are a lot of weird things that happened this past weekend before the pay-per-view where you're just like, okay, this is not how we want things to really be going on, but I guess we're going to have to.
What was it? Was it
like domestic violence?
Was it domestic
Supposedly.
violence?
That's the supposed thing. I think that's what it was. I have to read up on it. But again, it's just like how do we really feel about it? You know, like how is the mentality of this going? But then again, you never know.
I've always been an advocate of not taking something that's one-sided or not taking an article just because it's posted online, because I know usually we want to jump to, hey, that must be fact if it's posted. You know, you don't know, Somebody could have been wrongly framed for it. So I don't want to jump to a conclusion and say he's a bad person, he's a good person. At this point, it is what it is. Personally, the match was great, but I just felt like it was too early to pull the trigger on him.
But are they doing that because of what Miz announced? Are they going to give him time off?
Oh, that.
Who knows? I mean, Shane kind of dismissed him later on in the show, like, go home. You need to relax. It's not the end of the world, but go home. But it you have that vibe, like, are we getting heel Miz back because you so abruptly told him to go away?
Yeah.
Or is it legitimate, like, hey, I'm really hurt right now. I don't want to deal with it. I'm an old man, damn it.
That could be planting a seed. Maybe a Miz versus Shane at Mania. Who knows?
So Dan got the right call on this. Now he has 2 to my 1 and still 2 years ago because we both thought McMiz would win. I gave this match an A. I kind of like this match too.
Match was good. Match wasn't bad. I think that a couple high spots were necessary just to keep it from being just a regular tag team match on a pay-per-view that's got 2 Elimination Chamber matches. So it did its thing.
Well, I mean, by the way, for being a 14-minute match, I mean, so pretty good. Moving on with the card, we have the WWE Intercontinental Championship handicap match.
Again, what I thought would not happen, happened.
The almighty Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush versus Finn Balor, 9 minutes, 30 seconds. He deserves a belt.
He does.
Did I feel like this match was kind of like a gimme to him, though? In a way, yeah. It was a good match. I felt like there was more out of Rush and Balor because we've seen Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor go at it enough times already. They're growing stale to me, personally. The one thing, though, that I do like, I think they should have kept the whole separation of Lashley and Lio Rush just because of where we saw Lashley later on in the night. What do you think?
Personally, it seems like an AEW prevention type of thing. I was expecting maybe at WrestleMania we get a nice one-on-one match between Balor and Lashley. You know, a powerhouse versus a high flyer. And then you can have Finn win the Intercontinental title just to make it a little bit more like, hey, okay, I've been screwed around for a little bit, but I'm at Mania. I just won the Intercontinental Championship. Okay, now we're on to a really good road.
Well, the thing is, like, could you have kept him around that long?
Until Mania?
Yeah, because, like, I don't know when Finn's contract is up, but it just seems like all these superstars want their releases because they don't feel utilized correctly.
Well, we'll address one particular match where I felt that way and you felt that way as well, but I don't know. It sucks. It really does.
It sucks because it's like you have great talent in your company, but sometimes you're underutilizing or screwing them over.
You have a lot more talent now than you did in the Attitude Era. In the Attitude Era, you can count on one hand who your main event guys were. Now, it's so much that it's like...
They're all main event worthy at this point.
Yeah, but it's just the concern of time and booking.
I don't know. I mean, not to take away from the match, of course, Lashley loses the belt.
Indirectly.
The whole indirection thing kind of always killed me sometimes because it's like, is it really a win? I guess it is, but it's like you didn't really beat the champion themselves.
Yeah.
I gave this one a C. It wasn't as great of a match to me. Again, Dan didn't get this right.
I didn't get it right either.
No, yeah. But I got it right. Because I actually called for Finn winning.
There you go.
So it's 2-0. Moving on to the next match. For the WWE Raw Women's Championship.
Here we go.
You have Ruby Riott versus Mouserat, Raccoon, Bluebird, Red Wing, Kabuki, Spiderweb, Video Game Fucked. I get it that she was contracted by Mortal Kombat to do the voice of Sonya Blade. I get that she came out dressed as her, which... For the first time, she's not going to be nice to a fan, not give up her stupid gloves or whatever she gives the fans. She's in serious mode. It's like, okay, first of all, this has nothing to do with the wrestling thing. You are not Sonya Blade in my eyes. You will never be Sonya Blade in my eyes. The person that was Sonya Blade, Bridget Wilson, that's who forever will be Sonya Blade to me. I don't give a fuck if you voiced her for the game. Whoever at Neversoft or whoever the fuck runs Mortal Kombat now, why the fuck would you choose her? It bugged me. It's like, really? And okay, now let's go to the quick 1 minute 40-second match. What pissed me off again, Ronda, shut the fuck up. I hate hearing her trash talk. It's the worst thing ever.
What did she say this time?
I forgot because I tuned her out most of the match trying to. But what pissed me off is when she tossed Ruby around, she had her ready for the armbar. She's like, flawless victory. I'm like, you're not in the fucking game.
She said that?
Yeah. That pissed me off so bad. That's why I was like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Bullshit. Because it's like, you took away from one of my favorite women's competitors right now. You took away from someone who had to wait the next night to have a better match with her.
Let's talk about that. Absolute trash. Absolute trash.
I want to address those two first and then the controversy after.
Yeah.
Does Ruby Riott deserve a push? Has she been well-deserving and working her ass off?
Yes.
Has she proven at this point that she could be on the main card of the women's competitors? Yes. So why the fuck would you bury her like this in a minute?
I did think of you because I know Ruby has been your girl as of late. Ruby is the definition of someone who has a very unique moveset, very interesting character.
Something we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
In a woman competitor.
And if you give her even 8 minutes and say, go out there and put on a good match, she can do it. I have been invested. I'm not going to say that every single one of her matches is 5-star, but again, she's got a very interesting arsenal of moves. In my eyes, I'm like, what you could have easily done was just scrap this match, don't have it, and just jump to a Charlotte and Ronda Rousey segment where then Becky comes out and then does her thing.
You give stupid ass Lacey Evans a minute, and that had more attention. That's the same minute that what's her name got in the match. Seriously?
Disgusting.
It's horrible. And what sucks is because we're watching Raw in the background. This broad over here just had to fucking bury Ruby like that. That pisses me off even further because it's oh, I'll compete. Yeah, I'm a defending champion, but you can't give her more than a minute.
I think it's less of a Ronda Rousey thing and it's more of a Vince McMahon thing where you alluded to this. It's she has always been pushed. I'm talking about the raccoon. She's always been pushed as a superstar where you're going to win and you're going to have quick victories and you're going to be pushed to the moon. And we saw this. We saw this in the Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey segment. When the fans don't give her what she wants, she cracks. And then, we were talking about this. You want to talk about, Vince wonders, why does everybody want to leave? Why does everybody want to go?
Why is my talent going to a startup company based out of Jacksonville, Florida? Let's see. You have good talent that you're working with, but you don't want to give them shine. You have a lot more main eventers than you've ever had. Nah, I'm going to bury them. No, I'm going to cut them short.
Like I said, you could have easily just scrapped the match and went, you know what? Scrap the match. Yes, she's champion. We got to have her appear. Let her and Charlotte have a little segment. And then Becky could have come out and you just did what you did last night.
So here's the thing. Okay, so moving from the match. Before it and after. Before it, was it really necessary to bring Charlotte out? Again, appreciate her. But lately she's giving into this whole I'm deserving, I'm a Flair character type thing. And it's you got your ass kicked out at the Royal Rumble. Granted, you did a good job. But you're playing into this me character in a sense. And it's kind of annoying. I don't need more Charlotte right now.
If you're trying to show the whole road to WrestleMania where Becky's gotta, take the extra mile, that's fine. But do not add Charlotte to the match. No. I would say the only way this is salvageable is if at Fastlane, okay, you want to keep appearing even though you're suspended. Becky versus Charlotte one more time. Whoever wins goes to WrestleMania. Go.
One-on-one only.
One-on-one only, yeah. And Becky obviously wins.
here's the thing that like I loved about it. So yeah. And Charlotte stand off, whatever. And then you see the crowd getting hyped, not because of those two, but because you have someone who, thanks to you, Charlotte, for fucking injuring her, on crutches, comes in.
Who looked like she was coming back from a firefighter seminar.
She kind of reminded me of Kill Bill. But just in the reverse.
The reverse, yep.
And I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I literally wrote this, and I said it as she was doing it. Becky 316 says, I just beat your ass. My God, like, even like just limping in with the crutches. I was like, holy shit. Like, you really are like, you're Stone Cold Steve Austin now. You're really like dead set on like, I'm going to beat everyone's ass now. If you don't want to give me my opportunity, I'm going to do what Austin did. I'm going to ruin shit around you till I have your full undivided attention. The funny thing was that I actually thought she was going to give Ronda the opportunity.
No, we put it together. I'm like, do it. You better do it.
Oh no, I thought at least one hit to Charlotte. At least the one. And then Becky's like, you're not doing a good enough job. Let me show you how it's done.
Did you see the way she was holding the crutch?
No, I did. The whole time. But that's the thing. But she did that on purpose, obviously. There's things she can't do right. We all know this.
What can she do right?
Leave.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. I actually would have liked to see Ronda beat Charlotte a little bit. Just for like a second, at least. But then again, it's like, Charlotte deserved to get her ass beat. Ronda deserved to get her ass beat. And the fact that like Becky's leaving with a smile on her face by the cops.
She doesn't give a shit.
Fuck no, I love it. I love it. Like, the fact that she had to tweet earlier in the week after her suspension that it's fucking bullshit. Gem after gem after gem. The fact that she went on the live show to try to get back at Charlotte. Gem. She really is in Austin 316 mode. Like, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to raise hell. And there's nothing no one's going to do to stop me. Austin did the exact same thing until he got McMahon's attention. Like, all right, you want something? And you really want to fight? Fine. Prove it to me.
What I also love is sometimes in her promos, she says this, and I feel like it's a jab to the booking committee or even Vince, where she's like, I know I was the one wrench that got thrown into their plans. I know I'm the one thing that they didn't plan for. I know I'm the one thing that they were trying to get rid of. You know, I wasn't supposed to be in the title picture. And then she followed us up with, but here I am. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I'm like, that is a direct jab at the writing committee and the booking committee. It's like, look at the star that you had all this time. Because I personally, going back to the beginning of 2017, I was pushing for Becky because I recognized, I'm like, she's a great talent. And the fact that you have the whole James Ellsworth thing where he comes, he gets the briefcase, and then the year after, you know, Becky wasn't even doing anything. It's like, why are you letting her go to waste? And then finally at SummerSlam, from that time to now, it's like, yes, tune into that, hold on to it, and show it off.
But there has to be one writer that believes in her that I'm sure is fighting with Vince and the creative team. Like, no, you need to give her a chance. You need to give. And they're like, fine, whatever, write it in, whatever. Because it seems like most of their creative team is just like, no, we want Charlotte. Like, why the fuck do you want her at this point? Like, she had, honestly, since SummerSlam and since Evolution, Charlotte hasn't done shit to impress me. Granted, her roided rage at the Royal Rumble, she hasn't done something that's like, okay, you deserve another opportunity. You deserve a championship match. Like, she doesn't deserve the Raw belt. Personally, she deserves a rematch with Asuka.
Yes, that would have been.
Asuka hasn't been seen on TV since the Royal Rumble. I haven't seen her on SmackDown. I only see her through social media on the live events.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the SmackDown belt. Why is it not being defended or shown on SmackDown? Like, you're getting the Shinsuke treatment with this belt now. And it sucks because it's like...
At least Shinsuke was on TV.
But here's the thing. They're pushing for this whole woman's evolution thing. You're not including one of your champions right now. What the fuck are you doing?
But Ronda Rousey gets to appear every single week.
Which gets more and more frustrating and annoying.
I personally think that Vince, he's smart if you think about it. Because I said it before. If you're pushing for the whole... Because you got to give Becky a story from now until Mania. You can't just have her come to the ring and trash talk to Ronda, which would still be entertaining. But this is much more entertaining because something is happening each and every week. Even during live events where it's not televised, it's like, holy shit, they're doing stuff that contributes to the main storyline. I'm thinking it's Vince McMahon trying to keep her down, quote unquote, and then Becky kind of has to keep on proving it time after time. She has to come out on top.
Like the Austin McMahon treatment.
Exactly. However, if they're pushing for, well, Charlotte's got to be in the main event picture because she's a Flair triple threat, that's going to piss everybody off. And that is not...
No one wants to see it.
I'm sorry, but it's Roman Reigns versus Triple H. We don't want to see it. We told you we don't want to see it. We don't want to see him win the title in the main event. What do? You make him win the title in the main event. We didn't want to see that.
Well, what was it that we didn't want to see at World Cup? We didn't want to see Roman versus Braun versus Brock. No one wanted that because it's like, no, we're tired of seeing Brock Lesnar go for that belt. We're tired of him having that belt. We just wanted Roman versus Braun finally. Something that hadn't come to fruition. But it's like, no. It's like they think, oh, we need Charlotte Flair. We need there to be a third wheel in this bicycle of a No, you don't need a tricycle out of it. You just need someone who's proven she's main event worthy. And you need someone who is the main event, unfortunately, right now, to just headline what will become a big WrestleMania. Like, I get it. It's always been closed out by the guys. Cool. They have earned their time. They've proven in 6 months they can carry a show. Let them end it, but end it with just the two of them.
You know,
give Charlotte her moment again in the mid card against Asuka. Give her something so she doesn't feel left out. If it's really that Charlotte is starting to feel like I have to do something to stand out, okay, fine, cool. Go do it on SmackDown. Do it on the roster you're on right now. You're not on Raw. Becky's only on Raw because she earned her opportunity to go to both shows. One, her main show, SmackDown. Two, to talk shit to Ronda.
One thing I was going to point out was, first of all, WWE, according to them, their most disliked video where the Raw episode where Vince suspends Becky and puts Charlotte in her place has like 70,000 dislikes, which apparently is the most disliked video. But what stands out to me is there was a package video of Becky Lynch and Ronda face to face. And I looked at it, I'm like, one side you have, according to her, a household name for a decade, which to a certain extent, yes, you were. You broke those barriers, you shattered those glass ceilings, awesome. You got that, and then you got Becky Lynch. Someone who, I think that even non-wrestling fans are like, who's this chick with the orange hair? She's been creating that buzz.
She's drawing in new crowds.
Yes, and I think about it, I'm like, you look at that stare down, it's so satisfying that it's like, if you ever wanted to book the last match at a WrestleMania, the main event, it's got to be that.
That's the only way to do it.
That's the only equation. Nothing else. Nothing taken away. Nothing added. Just that. Because that was entertaining TV. When Becky and Ronda were face to face and they were taking jabs, I'm like, yeah, you know what? And even Michael Cole made a remark after that segment where he's like, can WrestleMania happen tomorrow? It's like, even the commentators are telling you this is entertaining. This is what people want to see. So I think according to me, if it's the bigger picture type of deal where it's Charlotte is just going to try to throw in a wrench until Mania and then she's going to butt out, great. But if you're thinking, no, we need a Flair to be in this match, you don't.
Let me throw something in here as well, and then we'll move on. Ric Flair himself. He's a main event guy. He's always been most of his career. But did he ever really close out every single pay-per-view in his career? No, he didn't. Hogan did. Hogan and Sting. Or anyone but Flair. Flair never put himself in a position where he's like, no, I have to be in here. I'm the man. I'm the jet flying, limousine riding, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing someone. No, he never did that. He imposed himself like, all right, I get where I am in my career. This is where I belong. Cool. His daughter, on the other hand, seems like she's riding that coattail still pretty hard. That as much as she says, I'm nothing like my father, you are the split image of him, if not bigger.
I think that it's not necessarily Charlotte saying put me in the main event. It's just the booking committee because, hey, she's a Flair.
Well, then the booking committee is a bunch of idiots. They're fucking ridiculous at this point.
Amen.
And it sucks that we have to call them out like that, but it's the truth.
I don't know.
This match got an F.
This match was not even deserving.
You and Dan got a point out of it. Well, you guys didn't guess. You knew who would win.
But not like this. I was like, at least if you give me
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Give me 5
or you know
minutes.
What? Just because I've been watching Raw. If you give me 3 minutes, at least that.
How long was the match?
1 minute 40 seconds.
Oh shit!
That's an MMA match.
Moving forward. Disgusting. Ruby, we love you. We're cheering for you through the good and
You'll
the bad.
get your event one day.
Hopefully.
And please stay. Moving on. This was a last-minute throw-in match. Apparently, he called in some favors to the McMahons. I'm pretty sure they didn't pick up. They just left you straight to voicemail. You fucking idiot. Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman in a no DQ match.
Personally,
10 minutes, 50 seconds.
Personally, I thought this was the way to pull the trigger on ending this feud because it seems like
it's just getting annoying.
This is getting the Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin treatment where you would see it again and again and again.
But Baron doesn't even put on that good of matches anymore. Okay, I need you to tell me because I haven't tuned into him. In NXT, was he really good? Gimmick-wise, match-wise, was he really good to be moved up to the main roster?
He was okay. At first, he was getting the treatment of having 30-second matches where his opponent would, run around and, end of days, 1, 2, 3. But it was kind of like that new talent push where it's like we're trying to showcase how good of a talent he is. And then, I don't know, out of obscurity, he just appears in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and wins the whole thing. And it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate the guy. I personally feel like since he shaved his head and put on a vest, he's been more relevant than when he had long hair and was Mr. Money in the Bank. I think some moments he makes the gimmick work, but in moments like this where it's like, just have Braun beat him. And I don't know what's going on with Braun because Vince apparently liking big guys. They nudge Strowman, then they hold him back. They nudge, then they pull back.
With him.
But he's a big guy, which is the shock. It's like, don't you like giants? He's right there.
Maybe he pissed him off. The Big Show's done that constant time.
He's getting the Big Show treatment where at first you were like, this guy's flipping ambulances. He's destroying shit. Damn. And now it's like, oh, of course he gets beaten in 4 minutes thanks to 6 F5s from Brock Lesnar. You can unfortunately catch Crown Jewel only on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable, very reasonable price of only $9.99.
Which is dubbed by us the World Cup, even though FIFA owns that.
Worst pay-per-view. But yeah, I don't know.
So this is what I wrote. Corbin with the beard, he looks like a strung out Charlie Brown. Even if he shaves it, he still looks like Charlie Brown. Because now he has no hair or facial hair. The match kind of felt like ruthless aggression attitude, just based on the violence. That alone. There was no real wrestling in it. It was like more like, I'm gonna hit you with shit.
Gimmicky.
Yeah. It surprised me though to see Drew McIntyre come out. It's like, what are you trying to involve yourself with Braun at this point?
I was thinking maybe Kurt Angle comes out and makes a slight save because that's kind of been the story. But by the same token, seeing how gassed Kurt Angle quickly gets, it's like, and I've been hearing that apparently health-wise he's not in the best condition. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. You got the whole Shield moniker of, triple powerbomb through two tables.
I hated that. That was like, really? This is what you have to do to beat him?
Which, it's convincing because, again, if you want him to be a giant and indestructible, that's what you got to do. But
here's the thing that surprised me. They allowed those two to hit him with the chair so many times. And it's like, I thought like two from each of you and that's it. Hit him like 6-7 times. And it's like, each. It's like, dude, the guy's down already.
They're breaking that PG era crap.
I get it. Cool. I like the fact that Lashley came out on his own. But it's like, do you really need a 3-on-1 at this point?
But see, going off of Raw last night, it doesn't make any sense because Bobby Lashley goes back to dealing with Finn Balor. And it's like, you split with Leo, you deal with Strowman, now you're back to dealing with Finn. And it's like...
And you're back with Leo.
Which, it makes no sense.
Like, what was the point of it? I didn't get it either. Give it an F. We all scored wrong because we all wanted Braun to just bury him.
What I thought would never happen happened.
All right, and then moving on to the main event.
Wow.
A 36-minute, 40-second match. The Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. Kofi Kingston in replacement of Mustafa Ali.
Yep.
Versus Jeff Hardy. Versus Randy Orton. Versus AJ Styles. Versus Samoa Joe. Versus the new Daniel Bryan.
Fickle.
Eliminations in this order. Samoa Joe.
Which we got right.
Jeff Hardy.
Which we got right.
AJ Styles.
We got wrong.
Randy Orton. Kofi Kingston. I gotta say.
Wow.
That was another wow. If it wasn't for the women's tag match, this match would be match of the night.
What's so amazing is that usually when you have an underdog who they're trying to tease is going to win the match, they'll do like a finisher and then the heel kicks out. But in this one, you had two instances where you're like, that could be it. Oh, Daniel kicks out. But then you also had the reverse where Kofi gets hit with the running knee. And you're like, okay, it's done. Kofi kicks out. And it's like, you're teasing it so bad. Which way are you going? I can't tell.
Which was great.
Which is great. Quite honestly, at first I'm like, I don't know because Kofi he's
like,
a part
is
of
Kofi
the New
the
Day.
gimmick? Is he like the butt of this whole match?
But he wound up being the star and the crowd was on fire. Did you hear the crowd when he hit Trouble in Paradise? The crowd, it was a Steve Austin pop. They popped because they're like, it's happening. And then, of course, Daniel.
Well, here's the thing. Even before this match, on last Tuesday, he went
1 hour.
Seth Rollins out.
Yep.
Time. He ran the gauntlet as long as he could. And honestly, I got reminded of how good Kofi Kingston is on his own.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like, he's a great tag team competitor, yeah, but, like, seeing him back on his own, I was like, holy shit, this is why, he's kind of the reason why he brought me back to wrestling earlier, a few years ago, because it's like, the dude can perform, the dude can wrestle. Why is he in this gimmicky-ass fucking tag team?
Which is fine. I'm a fan of the New Day because, again, consistent booking, they know what they are, they know who they are. but Kofi stood out to me, and
he proved he can still wrestle on his own.
I was even trying to be an advocate for going into Mania. You have Kofi being the WWE champion, and then New Day being the tag team champions. That would be really cool.
Well, here, okay. So before discussing like the match in general as well, they're kind of trying to make it seem like, all right, out of like take Kofi out. Do you see Jeff Hardy, Randy, AJ, or Samoa Joe giving this much of a, oh my God, this is a good WrestleMania match against Daniel Bryan? I'll tell you right now, hell no.
You mean, will Kofi get their approval?
No, like, will any of those four put on the same type of match that Kofi and Daniel Bryan did? Personally,
Let's go through it.
Jeff Hardy. I say no because it's like, okay, you're still a good competitor, but you don't have that same spark and edge like you used to. That's just me.
I will be a little bit questionable with that one. I'll say, if given the correct amount of time, possibly.
I still don't think so. Randy Orton.
If Randy decides to not hold Daniel in a headlock for 20 minutes, I think they can have a pretty cool match. Maybe gimmicky, just to throw a little bit more flavor in there. But that's a big maybe.
AJ Styles. We're over it. We've seen this enough.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe.
Nah.
He doesn't draw the magnetism.
I'm sorry, not to knock the guy, but
He doesn't draw it in.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You had to question and put stipulation on the first two. So that's an automatic that they can't.
Yeah.
On AJ, it's like, all right, we've seen the same song and dance already, and you guys are getting bored with each other. Let's be real, you are.
Even AJ, outside of that dance, it was like...
Like, what's happening with you?
Going back to the Shinsuke feud, going back to the Samoa Joe feud, where it's not like... I don't think anybody could sit there and say, well, they only had one match, you can't judge it on one match. No, they had multiple matches.
Like 3 to 4 matches.
Remember that one match where it's a Extreme Rules match, and it took them 20 minutes to the point where even Corey Graves, someone who you are not fond of, said, why are we taking so long to grab a weapon?
Seriously.
Like, they're trying to have a wrestling match. It's like, guys, it's a gimmick.
They're trying to have a rivalry.
Yeah.
Do something with it. Make it violent.
And then finally, 15 minutes in, someone decides to grab a kendo stick, and it's like...
But was it even utilized that much between Samoa Joe and AJ? Not really.
But, you know, I think definitely highlight is Kofi Kingston.
You want that same magnetism, they'll bring it at WrestleMania.
That was a WrestleMania-worthy performance from...
It can happen again.
And I wouldn't mind. I honestly would not mind. I just think that you would have to think how to correctly book Kofi to the point where he doesn't just become, you know...
like irrelevant?
Yeah.
I think... And come on, 11 years in the industry, you never jump ship.
Very loyal.
You have a guy that could be your main eventer for a while in Kofi Kingston. Because honestly, I've said it for years that he's deserving of a championship. He's won almost every belt but a championship belt.
And I also thought about this. Think back. Anytime there was a Royal Rumble, a Money in the Bank, a high-stakes match where you needed someone to give it a oh wow moment.
That's him.
Who was the one guy that kept on getting that?
Kofi.
It was Kofi. Not that Xavier Woods and Big E can't do it, because I know they can, but it seemed like Kofi was that one guy where it's like, let's give this guy a little bit more, let's see if he can hang. And every single time he proved, I can hang.
And not only does he prove it, he shows it in the match itself. It's like, I feel like it's like they're the last minute, like, fuck, who can we get? Who can we get? And he's right there, like, put me in. Aren't you tired? No, put me in. I'm good to go. Like, the guy's ready to put on a show for you, no matter what. He even does it in his tag matches. Whenever Xavier, Big E aren't the ones wrestling. He will put on just as big a show as a tag competitor as he does a singles competitor.
You know, hearing you say that, it kind of makes me think about something. I wonder if they put Kofi in it just because they wanted to get one or two high spots in the match. But right before they said, you know what? Let's see if this guy can maybe go the extra mile. Wrestle 1 hour on SmackDown. Knocked it out of the park.
Well, not even that. I think what it was, it's like, all right, we're not going to book it on SmackDown where you beat everyone in the gauntlet. We're not going to say who wins. Prove you can beat at least one of them. Who did they put him up against? Daniel Bryan first.
The champion.
And he pinned him.
Yep.
He beat him.
Yep.
Then, who was next after him? Was it Samoa Joe? Was it...
I think it was
or was it Jeff?
No, Jeff. It was Jeff.
Jeff gave him a match. Like, and even at one point, he was like, come on, wrestle me. Fight me. Let's go. And then what? It was Samoa Joe,
I think it was Samoa Joe, yep.
Samoa Joe was like probably the toughest one out of like the 4 he fought. I mean, granted, yeah, like at that point he was exhausted against AJ, but he still kept that like no,
yeah.
Because even AJ's like, dude, like come on. He's like, no, fight me, come on, like I'm not a joke. Give me a fucking point.
Yeah.
Yeah, AJ beat him.
Yeah.
But I'm
but
pretty
Kofi
sure
didn't lose.
I didn't think he lost.
I don't think he lost.
At that, he didn't. Because to me, that showed like, all right, you went 3 out of, what is it? Hold on. Daniel, Jeff, Joe, AJ.
6?
Randy.
5.
You went 3 out of 5 wins and only 1 loss. It's like, well, 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
75% of you was able to hang as long as possible. And even in that last one, you still like, don't go easy on me.
Yeah.
Actually fight me.
What I remembered was in the match where Kofi's like, hit me. And it's like, holy shit. Like, I think, because, you know, we've seen the Trouble in Paradise, you know, Kofi. We've seen... you know, smiley, good guy Kofi. We've seen the New Day Kofi. This was a different Kofi. It was like, he's a good guy. He's not a bad guy.
But it's the one that I think we have never seen.
It's the one that is like...
I am the main event.
Yeah.
I can be the guy to carry the ball for SmackDown if I have to.
Man, I hope they do something, capitalize. It's about...
this is their opportunity.
It's about damn time. Poor guy. I don't know if you checked out the 7-minute post-show interview that they had where it wasn't gimmick, it wasn't New Day, it was Kofi, Xavier Woods, and Big E. They weren't wiggling their waist and saying, New Day rocks. No, they're like all serious and, you know, they're all like down to earth and grounded. And Big E, even one moment he was talking, he actually got emotional. He's like, God damn, I wasn't expecting to get choked up. And I'm like... you see that. Look at what you have on your roster. Look at that. That's passion right there. That's 11 years of someone who's been loyal to you. Someone who, from what I hear, everyone says Kofi, great personality. You know, he's always got a smile, great attitude, you know, in the locker room. That's an advocate. That's someone who can be a representative for your company.
It's just surreal. It's surreal of him. Like, okay, so this is what I kind of seen on WrestleMania, which granted you can catch on YouTube. Mustafa Ali would have gotten the push.
I was thinking about that.
That's what they were going to go with at first. But because of his legitimate injuries, like the concussion, the black eye, Kofi was put in place. And Mustafa Ali said it himself, like, hey, nothing against him. You know, it was my time. I get it. I can't do it. But I am rooting for you. I am wanting... He's like... He legitimately gave him his, like...
Approval.
Like, hey, do what you got to do. But I think Kofi did more than just did what he had to do. He took the ball and he ran with it almost to the point of victory. And it's like, holy shit. Like, you want this now. You're proving to the world that you're ready for it. So to get back into the match itself, the fact that Samoa Joe gets eliminated first, like, I think we predicted it just because you take away the big guy factor of the match. It's like you have someone that doesn't imbalance the match anymore.
However, I think Joe actually had a good performance before he was eliminated, because I think we were all expecting, yeah, he'll just kind of be there, he'll hang out, he'll get eliminated by a roll-up and then maybe put someone to sleep and exit. But no, he got some decent time, and he actually put on...
Well, we got to see what we haven't seen out of him in a while.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys are fans of Samoa Joe's and you've seen what he's done before he joined WWE, you know the guy can wrestle.
Yeah.
You know the guy is a competitor. And he's championship worthy. It's just, he's booked right now as like that guy, kind of like, he's a mid-carder now. When he could have been a champion already.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, maybe one point you'll give him the U.S. Championship. Or even take him back to Raw, get him the Intercontinental Championship. Give him a belt. But he's not in that position to be your main eventer yet.
Yeah.
But I actually liked how he was one of the first ones to wrestle against Daniel Bryan. God, he bruised the fuck out of Daniel, though, with the chest chops.
Dude, we were watching it. I'm like, what's going on with the chops? Is everybody Ric Flair all of a sudden? What is going on with the chops? And you saw not only Samoa Joe's chest, but Daniel's chest. It got red.
It was bleeding at one point.
And I'm like, God damn. And they weren't holding back. When they chop, man, they don't hold back.
Like, the thing is, like, when Daniel would do it to Joe, like, yeah, you could feel the pain. But when Joe would do it to Dan, like, it echoed.
Yeah.
And that's the first time in a while I've heard a chop echo that loud. I was like, God damn it. And that hurts me. I'm not even fighting anybody. I'm just watching.
You felt it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Joe is out. And then
Kofi came in third. So that's when Kofi started to wrestle Daniel. They were all over. And then AJ came in next.
Yeah, I feel like, again, pretty cool match. I think as people started getting eliminated, you saw, okay, Kofi, he's coming down to the final two. I think that part of the match outdoes the rest of the match.
Well, some highlights of the match. I felt bad that AJ was stuck in the Tree of Woe.
Yeah, that looked really uncomfortable. Yeah.
The Swanton hit on him.
Ugh.
I felt bad for him and Jeff.
Yeah.
What else did I write?
Randy was in there for a fairly short amount of time.
Well, he was the last one in.
But he got eliminated a bit quick. I was expecting he would be in there for maybe a good 10 minutes.
Like, actually put on a match?
Yeah. Then again, Randy's kind of at that point where it's like he's an established veteran. He doesn't have to prove anything. He could be a filler and be okay with it because, hey, you need someone to fill in a match for you. I'm your guy. I'm your veteran.
The phenomenal RKO, though. Just saying.
That was cool. I mean, you were expecting to see an RKO of some variety in the match. So, and then I think Kofi eliminated Randy, right?
Yeah, with the Trouble in Paradise.
So, again, you talk about giving someone that push, you know.
So here's my thing. I also wrote this down. Like, let's say if it was Mustafa Ali who did the gauntlet. Do you think he would have lasted as long as Kofi did?
I think it would have been an experimental thing where it's like, okay, let's see. You know, you've been getting a good push. Let's see if you can do it.
Like, can you pin Daniel Bryan again?
If you're asking me, would they have pulled the trigger? I would have said no. But I feel like they might have geared up for Mustafa Ali versus Daniel Bryan at Mania, maybe. Because he got a very quick push when he came to SmackDown. But
it seems like they were going to give him that big of a push, though. Like, my thing is, it's just like, could you have done what Kofi did in an hour? Could you have actually not look like you're winded, not look like you're tired and exhausted? Because Kofi didn't look like that at all in that gauntlet match. He looked like, I'm going to keep going and going. Fuck, Joe injured me, but I'm still going to keep going. I think if it was Mustafa Ali, he would have been gassed. And granted, he's a high-flying talent from 205 Live, and he has the speed and all that, and he's younger. I don't think he would have lasted as long.
I mean, you got, like we said, an 11-year veteran who's been doing this. And then
who still looks just as good as ever.
He does. He actually really, really does. I think this would have been their way of experimenting and saying, okay, we want to push it, but we got to see, can you do it? And this would have been the ultimate test of go, wrestle for an hour. Let's see if you can do it. And he might have been able to. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, he wouldn't be able to. He might have. It just, maybe with time we might see him put on another long-lasting performance. But I think about it, you could have picked anyone, and you picked Kofi for good reason. And he showed to you that he can go. He can give you a main event caliber type of feel. So I just hope they capitalize. I don't want this to be a 15-minute fame or a flash in the pan type of deal. Capitalize on this, because trust me when I say there's magic in Kofi being in the main event.
And he's well deserved.
Yep.
Like, the guy's done so much. He's been a singles champion. He's had Intercontinental gold. He's won an Intercontinental freaking tournament. He's been a U.S. champion. Like, what was to stop him from actually finally having the heavyweight championship?
So, again, well deserved. I hope he gets it. You could even do it while he's in the New Day. Again, like I said, establish as Kofi being the leader and Big E and Xavier maybe even being tag champs or being like the bodyguards for Kofi.
Well, that what we're getting, like, because the Usos won, like, the Usos and the New Day are not strangers to each other. They're friends, but they're also have competed in tag matches, and there's always a good show with those four.
If given time.
Yes. My thing is, it's like, what do you do at this point? Because honestly, like, look, we got Fastlane coming up in a few weeks, and then full gear to WrestleMania at this point. There's no letting go the foot on the gas. No, you're pedal to the metal. You're going. We already know and have said what we want the women's match to be as the main event. This could be the match before. But do you really, in your heart, in the next 2 months, are going to trust Kofi and Daniel to get us there? I think they can. Again, I don't want this, like you said, to be a flash in the pan. These guys are very deserving, especially Kofi. Give them the opportunity. Let them build something big, because if you just take this away from them, I'm sorry, but you're going to lose a lot of fans to the competition. And that competition, granted, they don't have a TV deal yet. They have a pay-per-view coming in May in Vegas. So much can happen in that time already. And it's already getting to a point where it's just like, what are you going to do? Where can you go? Because, again, it's disappointing that some of your talent is getting buried, and they want out. They don't care if they violate their contract. They just want to leave, because it's like, this other company is going to offer me what I want. More days off, less of a hectic travel. I have creative control, and I get opportunities for championships.
And more importantly, better booking.
Yeah. Like, not to say... Okay, so here's my thing. Not to say they don't have good talent right now. They do. They're signing good people. But you have the company that has been here for ages. And they, right now, like you said earlier, they have more than a handful of main eventers. You need to start booking correctly. You need to start giving these competitors an opportunity, a chance to carry the ball, run with it. And if they do such a bad job, then book them to lose. Take away their championship. But give them a chance and see what they're capable of.
And you saw that with Kofi.
You saw it with him. Who knows what you could have seen with Ruby? No. Unfortunately, we won't.
That still leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, that's why like my grade for this match was an A, and the whole pay-per-view unfortunately is a D. Because you had two horrible matches in there. One that didn't even need to be booked between Braun and Baron. And one that you buried someone that is well deserving. And when one of your commentators has been saying Ruby Riott is deserving, she is ready for a championship run, she is ready to be a main eventer. And all of a sudden, here's a shovel. Here's Ronda burying her. Like, come on, man. Like that kills it for me because honestly, even if Ronda was booked to win, so let's do this. Let's take out the Baron and Braun match. That doesn't exist anymore. That kind of lifts the grade up to like a C. Let's allow Ruby and Ronda to actually fight because everyone believes in the leader of the Riot Squad isn't a gimmick. They believe she's like there to lead this team. It's in her name to lead this team. It's in her name to like, all right, I'm the one who kicks the most ass out of all three of us. So I'm going to prove it. If they had given them an extra 4 or 5 minutes, I would have graded the match at least a C. But no, you fucking buried her. All for Charlotte.
You squashed her.
Yeah.
Really bad.
And it sucks. At least if it was a C, this pay-per-view would have been a solid B. It would have been a good pay-per-view.
So I want to introduce a new segment on the show.
Okay.
Breakout female wrestler and breakout male wrestler in the pay-per-view. I'll say mine, female was Sonya, male was Kofi.
I'm going to say Sonya too. Because honestly, like watching... Okay, so let's discuss female first. Let's start with Sonya Deville.
Yes.
Like I said, she is... I get the fire and desire thing. Everyone loves Mandy. She's like eye candy to everybody. But take that away, she's still a good competitor. Not as good as Sonya though. Sonya proves she can fight, she can wrestle, she can keep up in a match that was a half hour long. And at one point, I started rooting for them.
I did.
I could have seen them be the women's tag champions.
Not gonna lie, when Sasha got Sonya to tap out, I was happy for Sasha and Bayley, but I'm like, it's like the bittersweet moment where you're like, I'm happy you won, but Sonya had won me.
But the
over.
thing is, like, Sonya had to be put in the move in a different way.
And that's what makes it a non-burial and makes it more of like Sasha had to alter the way she does it.
Exactly. And even then, it's like, did it cause the same damage for you to tap that quick? Or was it because it's like, you're so gassed and winded that...
It's more believable
yeah.
as opposed to bank statement, oh, she just tapped out.
Yeah.
You don't want to give it the armbar treatment. Or I'm sorry, the maneuver. She doesn't deserve to have it called the armbar.
But like, you're seeing like that, like Sonya like can fight. She even had a match with Asuka, right? Was it Asuka?
Yeah.
That she almost could have won
At the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. But like my thing is, it's like, does it make it more brutal with the leg? Because it's more weight and muscle.
I would kind of make it the punt kick to Randy Orton, where it's like, let her use the bang statement, but if you dare to try to push Sasha, she's going to get that leg up and she's going to make sure she makes you tap out.
Okay. But yeah, like Sonya Deville really stood out as the female competitor of the night. And the fact that like, I think she had that fire going into the event because of the other one. I think that's what like made her in her mind like, I have to prove it. That idiot thinks I can't fight. She thinks I can't wrestle.
That idiot can't even wrestle.
She's an amateur.
She's stupid.
She trained in amateur wrestling, remember? And then, okay, for Kofi, again, the guy proved it. He's been there so long that it's his time. And even if you do, I think there's been rumors that they wanted to change the belt anyway. Because they wanted to make it blue in contrast to Raw's Universal Championship being red. Just for the SmackDown brand. But I think a blue belt would look better than the hemp-based belt that Daniel's carrying. Don't get me wrong, I still actually like that belt.
That made me crack up when he had the mic. And usually when someone goes to take the belt off their waist, they gotta unbutton and they gotta take it off. But because this is Velcro, Daniel just goes whoosh.
Well, not even that, you can just do it from like the side or the front of them. And it's like, dude, you really are like that into your world peace recycling fucking gimmick.
It's the real Bryan Danielson, but with that volume turned way up, and he's making it work. I love it. Which actually kind of gave me a little bit of an interesting thought was you can play off the New Day kind of doing their pancake shenanigans. Daniel Bryan comes out and goes, do you have any idea what's in those pancakes? And then you kind of play off that dynamic where it's New Day versus Bryan and Eric Rowan. They're clashing. Kofi goes, hey, give me one more shot at your title. And then you book it.
Or just give him a non-title match first.
Yeah,
See,
you
like,
can do that too. Have him prove himself again.
But they'll put on a good match, and then that'll be the thing. It's like, all right, he beats him in a non-title. It's like, okay, I don't think you can still do it, but you really want to prove it to me? Fine, let's go to WrestleMania. Let's do it there. You really want to be the champion? Beat me in the main stage.
And I can already picture you kind of have, when you're at Mania, you have the segment backstage where Kofi goes, E, Woods, hang back. I got to do this on my own. And you see that main event momentum come out of him. I'm doing this alone. I don't want shenanigans. I don't want pancakes being thrown around. I got to do this on my own. He goes out there and he does it.
I'd love to see that.
Dude, I mean, apparently on SmackDown tonight they're going to announce who Bryan's next opponent is. If you know what's good for you and your company, you'll make the right decision.
Ride on the momentum.
Yep.
I think, and this is what kills me. I think when it comes down to like the authority on the four, well, is it the four of them? Because Shane's more like, yeah, I'm a part of the authority, but I still like to wrestle.
Yeah.
So let's just say
much.
It's between Steph, Triple H, and
Vince. Yeah.
I think 2 out of the 3 of them are rooting for Kofi. Like, no, you need to book him. You need him. And I'm pretty sure the one, I already had my person to pick, damn it. Let's be real. I think Vince, or maybe Vince is a part of it. Maybe Vince is in the 2 out of 3. Because Vince has been giving other people opportunities. Yeah, some have been booked horribly wrong right now. But he has seen, like, okay, people are deserving. People have been fighting for what they want. And that's always been his thing. Even back in the Attitude Era, in Ruthless Aggression, who's going to step up? Who's going to show me that you're ready, that you want it, that you can carry the brand?
If we can dive into that for a minute,
Are you being serious?
If I could be serious for a minute, I go back to what Vince McMahon said about Cesaro on the Stone Cold podcast on the WWE Network a couple of years back, where he said, Cesaro, he's not ready. I don't see the crowd behind him. There were people with Cesaro section signs. What are you talking about? Did you hear that reaction when he won the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? Were you listening? That was before the Undertaker match, so I know you didn't leave the arena. You were still there watching it.
I'd be there.
So that's what really puts that little fact into question is, are you really paying attention? Are you listening? I've been pushing for a Cesaro push for a long time. I've been saying Royal Rumble winner, that needs to happen and has not happened yet. And what do? Time after time after time. You fed him to the John Cena's of the world. You fed him to the Roman Reigns of the world. Yes, you put him in a tag team. And okay, I'm not going to take it away. The bar has been pretty cool. Classic matches with the Hardy Boys and whoever has come against them. That's all fine. But where is that point where you say, I know you've been scratching and clawing, it is now your time? It's there. Like, and Cesaro, I know this was kind of slapped as a nickname, pound for pound the strongest guy. He's a strong guy. Those feats of strength, that no normal person can do that. And the fact that he's just there now. Oh yeah, he's there.
Like, he's with Sheamus.
Like, that's main event caliber. I even sort of kind of penciled him in to be in the title picture with Daniel Bryan at Mania.
Maybe Fastlane. You never know. Nobody knows right now what Vince and the authorities and the creative team's ideas for Mania is. Yeah, I thought we had that with Becky and.
We might still have that. Again, I think Fastlane will kind of determine what happens. Is. Yeah, so maybe we'll still get that. If they're smart, though, they'll do that. But
so I told you that I thought this was a D pay-per-view.
I'm gonna give it a C, just because I feel like both the Elimination Chamber matches, specifically the Breakout Stars, is what kind of saved it. However, you do have the dynamic of the Ruby thing and the Strowman thing and the Shane and Miz immediately losing the title thing. Yes, there's one or two positives, but by the same token, much like any other pay-per-view, there's always the pros and the cons.
Like, we have stories that are ready to push for the next month. And it's like, we don't know where they're going, what you want to do with them.
If they're going.
Yeah. My thing is, I want to see what's going to happen tonight on SmackDown. Like, I already saw what happened on Raw. And it's still a question to us. Are those 4 breakout NXT stars really ready to jump on the main roster of Raw? They all put on good matches. Out of the 4, I think Ricochet stood out the most to me. Granted that, like, don't get me wrong. What was it, Gargano and
Tommaso Ciampa.
They had a good tag match with the Revival. Aleister Black was pretty good against Elias.
It was more gimmicky. They just needed someone to shut Elias up, unfortunately. That's another guy where every single night would get the pops, would get the crowd to go along with his catchphrases. And then for whatever reason, let's turn him heel. And it's like, and that's the problem. They build, they get you excited.
And stop.
So, final closing remarks about Elimination Chamber?
I would say, as bad of a grade as I gave it, it's still going to be... It's going to be one of those that when we're here in December, it's going to be in our top 5.
Yeah. It's going to be remembered for something. So
that's my final thought.
Again, my final sentiment is I looked at it as a two steps forward, one step back type of thing. Yes, Sonya got her time to shine. Yes, Kofi got his time to shine. But by the same token, you bury Ruby, you bury Strowman again.
And notice what shows it is. SmackDown superstars shining, Raw superstars getting buried.
There you go. That pretty much sums it up. So, there you go, guys. We discussed our thoughts and we reviewed the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which you can catch on the WWE Network. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next time.